Hello,
Oh, hello.
I'm Sammy,
And I'm Steve.
and you're listening to Rose Plate Special, the most dramatic, ice cream momentingest, pearl wearingest, um, library dinneringest recap podcast of The Bachelorette ever.
Ever.
And I actually just realized I meant to do this before we started recording. I totally did not watch the first 15 minutes of this week's episode because I caught it
Oh,
live
wow.
and I was like downstairs and I was like, I'm going to just finish eating down here and then I'm going to go upstairs. And then I started the TV because we only have one antenna in our, we have one antenna in our house and we can't get it on our big TV. So I'm like, I came up here and watched it in here. And I was like, why is everybody getting mad about ice cream? I thought like I had missed an hour of programming. When I jumped in, I was like, what happened? So I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to guide us through like the first about 15 minutes of the episode. That's
First
my
of all,
bad.
ma'am, I believe it was gelato, not ice cream. Big difference.
Oh, well, they were talking about ice cream, so it's not my fault that it was actually gelato. That makes sense. But yeah,
I don't even know. I think it was gelato. It could have been whatever. So you didn't miss much. Here's how it went down. So
okay.
we all know night one, you're basically up for like 24 hours, right? Like you're up all night till the sun comes up. And what's the best thing to do after you've been up for that long?
Travel to Australia.
Travel to Australia.
That seems like the best thing that I would do with my time if I
I
were them.
would have an absolute mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a few of them did. So they hopped on a plane. They flew for what, like 16 hours, probably 12
Yeah.
hours. I don't know how long it
It's
takes. A
gotta be at
while.
least 16, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't even
it's a
know.
while. It's a world
Yeah.
away. They get to Australia. And then we have our little cutesy group date.
Yeah.
Now, cutesy group date is we're going to shop and we're going to eat and we're going to have some fun because that's what you do in Australia.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure.
And this is where we get the setup for the trajectory of the entire episode, which
Yes.
is fake Pete Davidson, kind of a dick.
See, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I missed the ice cream moment, so I feel like I can't fully weigh in on that. But I
Mhm.
apologize, everybody. I've just been really distracted by food. Before this episode, before we started recording, I was like, I got to make mac and cheese really fast. And I made it in like 20 minutes. I mean, it's in the oven right now, but
It's
I like
impressive.
put it together in 20 minutes. And you had asked me before we started recording, and I'm like, we'll save it for the podcast because obviously the people want to know.
People want to know.
Yeah, I don't do cow dairy, but I eat
Ooh.
sheep and goat dairy.
Oh, cute.
So yeah, so I put Gouda, goat Gouda, and sheep blue cheese, and then like a fresh goat
Ooh.
cheese in there.
Ooh.
I think it's gonna be
Tangy
a
and
really nice
fun.
mix. And then I put like an herb mix in there.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So it's in the oven. So like when we're done recording, I'll get to enjoy it.
Excellent.
So yeah. So anyway, I've been thwarted by food and The Bachelorette twice, and then all the
Mhm.
men got thwarted by food because so what was it? So Devin, did he like pull her aside and say like let's
Yeah.
eat ice cream together?
Yeah,
And
he
that's what people are
literally
mad about?
like scooped her up, took her away.
Like ice cream.
Yeah, took her away from the exactly. Much like
Yes.
ice cream
Scoops like ice
at your
cream.
local Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Yeah, he scooped her up, took her away, got ice cream. But his whole thing is, and someone actually, and I can't for the life of me remember who said this in their little confessional moment, but later in the episode, after all this continues to develop, someone goes, Devin's not wrong. He's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right, because
Yes.
this is a competition, and it is a competition where you are fighting for time with 20 other dudes, 25 other dudes, and you do everything you can to make your little moments. And you're not there for the other guys, even though we love our bromances and we love our,
Yes.
our
Love
friendships
them.
that develop. You're there to win. You're there to win the heart of the woman, in this case, Jenn. So Devin is doing what he's here to do, but he is a colossal dick. And this is the line that you have to walk in The Bachelor, because if you establish yourself as a villain, as Devin has done,
Yeah.
uh, you're going to have the other guys watching every move you make and thinking that it's some calculated thing. And they'll start saying, and it's already been said, that he's here for the what,
Wrong
everybody?
reasons. Yeah.
There we go,
Yeah.
which is silly. He's here for the wrong reasons means I don't like him. Like, what's the wrong reason? He
Right. He's
wants,
obviously doing it for the right reasons. I mean,
yeah,
he's
he's deeply
being
invested in
very like,
her.
he's pursuing her in a very focused way. So I think
Hmm.
he's the last person you could accuse of, like, doing things for the wrong reasons.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, you also, like I said, you got to maintain a balance here. So you want to take those moments, but you can't cause too much chaos, because if you are
Mhm.
seen as an agent of chaos, or if you are labeled a villain by the other men in the house, they're going to come for you.
Right.
And unfortunately for fake Pete Davidson, he is 100% chaotic, like
Yeah.
total chaos. I don't think he's a conniving villain in the traditional sense. He is naturally just a dickhead, though. So he's a
Yeah.
dick and he's chaotic. And when you have a chaotic dickhead in the house, it's just a whirlwind. So it will be interesting because no one is doing a particularly good job of standing up to him right now, or trying to figure
Yeah.
out a way to work around his shenanigans. But that's where we're at. So yeah,
Yeah.
you missed
Okay.
Devon time and a little bit of ice cream.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. But like, the way that the men were talking about it, I was like, was there like a whole date that he took her on? Like, did he? It sounded like they left for hours. Like, that was the impression I had, and I was like, it was only like 11 minutes, maybe 15 at the most, but I was not downstairs for that long. And usually it's just like we're traveling and it's a montage and then we're
Hmm.
here. And so I figured I'd come upstairs and they'd go, "We're in Australia."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it was like, "Fuck Devin." And I was like, "What happened? I missed something big." So I will catch up on it. And, if I have additional thoughts next week, I will share them. Um, okay.
Also,
Yeah.
I should mention too that did you get to the point with the stand up comedy, because that
Yeah.
was weird. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
just that was real cringy, but
that was weird because there was, like, not a lot of preamble. It was just kinda like
no.
we jumped into things,
Yeah,
and that was
hello, I'm a
another thing.
comedian in a red suit. You have exactly 30 seconds to write a tight five. Get up
Yeah,
there.
it was really weird, and then Devin was just like, "Oh, like, well, you guys all like each other so much, why don't you, like, start kissing and stuff," you know?
Yeah,
And then
do
everyone else was
kisses.
like, "Hey, Devin sucks," and that was the date, and I was like, "Well, that seems like a fun group
Yeah.
date."
It's unfortunate
Yeah.
that none of these men are funny or clever, because yeah, it's like what a Devin sucks so much. We should call him Hoover. He's a
Yeah,
vacuum.
what a loser. Yeah, he's so full of shit.
Call him
Yeah,
toilet full of shit.
yeah, it's like, wow, that's really interesting. Oh, my Animal Crossing notification is going off again.
You
I
gotta
am
turn off your Tamagotchi, lady.
so
Come on.
unprofessional. So yeah, I mean, I always say this. I feel like I've said this a bunch of times that I think the golden standard of appropriate pulling people aside to me is always going to be Tasha, because I think she did it like in the smartest way ever when she was on The Bachelor.
Mhm.
She's so likable. You can't get mad at her. And she was obviously like friends with people in the house. So it wasn't like,
Yeah.
she was being a dick, but she found her moment and she was just like, "Hey, come on, let's just go on this adventure really quick. Just like, don't worry about anything else. Just go." And nobody was mad afterwards. Like, nobody, there was no drama about it afterwards. And I'm like, I don't know. She did it artfully. So there is a way to do it. But yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's not like, I guess what my question was is this going to be like a Maria situation, or are people not going to ever warm up to him? You know
I
what I
don't think
mean?
people warm up to him. The difference is like, there's two things. One, the producers are salivating over Devin
Yeah.
because they see him as an agent of chaos, and they are like, he is a flame, and they are just tossing gasoline on him, all the way to the point where they're having the cocktail party later, and Devin rolls in with a bowl of ice cream on a little cart. Like, gee,
Yeah,
where'd he get that from? I wonder how that happened.
right.
They are encouraging him to do the things that make the other guys mad. With Maria, she was assertive and she was independent. She was her own woman, big personality, but nothing she ever did, in my opinion, really crossed that line into being a total asshole. Where
Yeah,
everything Devin is doing, like the way that he's responding to the other men in the house and the way that he's talking to them, he's got like real I don't know. I feel like he was bred for reality television. Like the way that he responds to people is very like this strangely aggressive like tone where he's putting the problem entirely on the other person.
yeah.
It's so weird. Like I don't even know how people are wired that way.
Mhm.
But all of this is not good. So I appreciate the Maria comparison, but
I'm just asking
Maria is a
questions.
goddess,
No,
and
we stand Maria
we stand
on this
Maria forever.
podcast
Yes,
forever and ever and ever.
yeah,
I'm just asking because she was also polarizing, but I think in a different
yes,
way. Because yeah, it was like the controversy there, the first controversy, if I remember correctly, was her being like, "You think 31 is old? That's weird."
yeah,
It's like she's just like, "Why do you think that that's like such a problem?" Like
yeah,
you think you're at a disadvantage? Like, I don't think so or whatever. And then it was like, oh, she's, diminishing my experience or whatever. And it's like, I mean, she's not wrong though. And she
yeah,
was also like, isn't she like 29? And so she
yeah,
was
exactly.
like I'm 2 years younger than you or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, it was just one of those things where it was like, yeah, because it was someone was talking about like, oh, I feel like I'm running out of time. She's like, you're not running out of time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's
Which is
ridiculous.
undeniably true. So, it was just kinda like, well, why are you mad about that? Like, I get your concerns are your concerns, and it's important for people to feel, like, heard and validated and all of that, but
Hmm.
that's the kind of thing that you could, like, just talk through. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
As
mean
opposed to this, where he goes up to Thomas and Thomas is just like, "Hey, you said you give us time," and Devin goes,
oh,
"Well,
yeah.
why you being such a skinny wiener loser? I'm gonna."
Well, you know what? We'll get to that because I have some
That's
thoughts about that because
yeah,
we'll get to that, but that's at the end of the episode. I don't wanna jump ahead too far, but I
yeah,
actually have some, specific thoughts about that too.
sure,
Um, but yeah, so, um, so we get to the end of this, like, comedy show, if you wanna call it that,
yeah,
and Devin's like, "I think the reason I'm being targeted so much is that the men see me as a threat." And, I mean, he's probably not wrong, but,
yeah.
well, time will tell.
It's a
Um
yes and right because again, it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, dude, you're asserting yourself and you're getting all this extra time and you're taking her away from the group, but also, side note, you're a dick. So yes, you're a
Yeah,
threat, but you're a dick.
you're an annoying threat. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're a
yeah,
really, unbearable threat. Yeah, this is the part in the notes where I wrote, "Am I farther in than I thought?" Because I was so confused because they were
yeah.
so mad, and I'm like, "How did all this happen in 10 minutes?" It's
It's an
wild.
oddly paced episode. They
Yeah.
just 0 to 60 in, like, 2 seconds.
I'm not saying I have a new favorite, but I will say that I have, like, a close second, because we get to the after party of this first group date, and Jonathan in those glasses, oh my god. Oh my god. He kinda looked like Mark Ruffalo, you know what I mean? I was
Ooh.
like, "It's working for me, it's working for me." I was like, "He looks really cute." Like, I feel like it's like my perception of him was off. I mean, I thought he was cute, but like,
Mhm.
he's all bandaged up. Then they reveal his face, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know what to expect. And his face wasn't matching exactly what my brain expected. So I was like, I think
Sure.
he's cute though. But now, like with him in an actual not hospital gown
Mhm.
and like put together in like an evening look and in his glass. I'm a sucker for
It's
glasses.
amazing how good a man can look when he's not in a hospital gown, you know?
When he's not doesn't look like he escaped in the middle of surgery.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I was just like, "Wow." And I think he's very, um he just feels very calm
Yeah.
and grounded, and I don't think he's the kind of creative director we wouldn't like.
Yeah.
I think
He's
he's
one
the
of the good
kind that we
ones.
would wanna work with. I'm gonna say that right now.
Shocking,
So
shocking.
yeah,
He's
I
the 1
know.
in 100.
So I was like, "Ooh," I actually, because yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's a good listener.
Mhm.
He was just like he's got like a really calming, like soft in a good way presence, and I
Yeah.
just really I don't know. He impressed me on that date. I thought he was gonna get like the group date rose, and I was
Mhm.
kind of surprised when he didn't. But we'll get there. Yeah, then we have Aaron, who is real jealous of Devin, and he's got the pearls. He's giving very much male feminist. I don't know. Maybe I should give him a shot.
There's a lot of guys wearing pearls on this show and just in general. What's going on? Did I miss this trend?
Yeah, you did. I mean, but it's kind of old by now. I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like it
just
was a thing like 3 to 4 years ago, so I'm just kind of like
okay.
with like young TikTokers and like those houses and stuff.
Yeah,
Listen, I don't mind it, but like I mean, I don't care. Wear whatever you want. But
sure.
sometimes when people wear that stuff, it just feels disingenuous.
Yeah.
And with Aaron, it just doesn't seem to match his personality, you
Mhm.
know? So like I don't know if you watch Curtis Connor. We watch Curtis Connor in this house, and my husband calls him the funny Canadian man. Can we watch the videos of the funny Canadian man? I said, "Oh, Curtis Connor, yes, we can watch that." And his jewelry game is like really strong. He's got like
Mhm.
this really cool necklace, like a Swarovski necklace that he wears a lot. He wears pearls and stuff, but it like matches his aesthetic. Like it just
Yeah.
all works. It just all looks like it goes. I feel like, and maybe time will tell. And I feel like it's partially just because I don't like his brother, but I just don't think it's comes naturally to Aaron.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks weird. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care, wear pearls, whatever, man, but, like, it doesn't fit. Also, I don't like it because if I'm just glancing at the television or, I just happen to catch one of these guys in the corner of my eye, I'm like, "Are puka shell necklaces back?"
And then you're like,
And
no,
I'm like,
it's pearls.
"Oh, it's just
Damn,
pearls."
too bad. Well, this is a good thank you. That was a good segue into something I wanted to talk about because I wanted to talk about an early 2000s thing at some point, just because
Mhm.
this was like a big part of my day and I need to talk about it. Um,
Okay.
okay, and also I mentioned the OC when I was
Mhm.
talking about it. So I, for like 2 or 3 years, have been trying to remember this makeup that I used to wear in like the early 2000s. And I put it
Okay.
on TikTok today and I said, because people can find anything on TikTok.
They can,
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's like 2 minutes later and someone's like, found them, found where they work, found everything, found the dog, and you're like, how did you do that?
Mhm.
And so I was like, I had done it before a few months ago. And it just didn't really go anywhere. So I didn't have any good leads. I didn't have like any good hints. So I was like, I'm going to try again. I'm going to do another video. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to win TikTok. So you gotta tell me. I need to
Help
know.
me out, TikTok.
I need to know. And I was like, it was this makeup. It was when the OC was popular. It was like in the early 2000s. And it was like when everybody was doing like dewy, glowy, beachy stuff. And, and there were like these pots that you would put it on your cheeks and I didn't fully remember exactly all the packaging, but I was like, I'll know it when I see it. And it smelled so good. Like it had like this kind of sweet smell
The
to it.
makeup you wanna eat.
Yeah, and it's like every once in a while, I'll smell something that smells like that, and I'll go, "Oh my god, that makeup that I wore in high school." Like my
Mhm.
brain will go there, and I was like, "I gotta know what it is." And I had a bunch of people in my comments going, "Is it this? Is it this? Is it this?" And I'm like, "No, everyone thinks it's this, but I don't think it's that. I think it's Maybelline or CoverGirl." And then someone said something, and I was like, "Oh, I think it's Revlon actually." And I think I found it,
Mhm.
and I bought a new in the box version of it from
From 20 years
20
ago?
years ago on
Oh my
eBay.
god.
I'm not gonna put it on my face,
I was say,
but I
I'd
am
be
gonna
worried about
smell
your
it.
skin melting. That seems like a possibility.
I was like, "I'm gonna smell it. I'm gonna, like, record myself unboxing it and smelling it." So, everyone, go to Sammy Ditto on TikTok. I'll put it in the show notes if you
Yep.
wanna see that. But that is, like, the early 2000s thing I think about all the time, and that was around
Sniffing
the time that
makeup.
everyone was wearing puka shell necklaces, and everyone wanted to
Ooh,
look like they just came from the beach for some reason. That
frosted
was, like,
tips,
a
baby.
really big deal. Yeah, so, anyway, no, I'm totally there's people on the show who like have really cool personal style. I think that's great, but with Aaron, it just doesn't read for me. It just feels like a put on. So anyway,
Yeah.
but
He
I
still
also
just yeah, he looks like
don't
the
like him that
guy
much.
who's gonna do my taxes or whatever, but also in a pearl necklace, and I'm just like, I don't know if the guy who does my taxes would wear a pearl necklace.
Well,
Doesn't fit.
I feel like the guy who would do my taxes would wear a pearl necklace, but
Probably.
yeah. Except I've had the same person do my taxes for 10 years, so
Yeah.
that's not gonna change anytime soon. Anyway, then we see Grant. There's a one-on-one
Mhm.
with Grant. She obviously really likes him, and I'm starting to warm to him. I wasn't sure, day trader Grant, but I think he asked good questions. Um, he says the right things,
Yeah.
and
I
it
don't like
works
it.
for Jen. You don't like it? You don't like him?
No. He's a little too slick, a little too smooth.
Yeah, he might
Mm-mm.
be. I don't know. I'm waiting to see because that's how I felt about like Jordan, with
Uh-huh.
JoJo. But then it obviously was legit. So I
Yeah.
mean, as far as we
Well,
know.
I'm
So
not saying he's a
I don't know.
child murderer, but I'm just like he's a little
Just
too
a
smooth for
little
me.
too smooth. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because he was like, "This is my favorite part of the day." He asked her like, "What shapes you into the woman that you are?" And he said, he was like, "Ooh, Grant Tran, I like that." And I was like, "That actually does sound really good." So I don't
I
know.
just feel like he's one of those guys who probably reads a lot of books about how to talk to people, but not
Yeah.
for self-improvement, just to get what he wants. And like,
Oh, well, we might have
yeah,
a second villain, you never know,
you
you
never know.
know?
I don't even know if it's villain enough. He's just so slippery. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna make it, like, super, super far, but she obviously likes him early on, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Um,
he seems like more paradise than long-term main show to me.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. But, I mean, as long as she's happy, I'm
Yeah, as
happy,
long as she's
so,
happy.
you know? And then the guys who are at home, they have a date card and no, suspense at all. It was just like, "Marcus," and then he goes, "You're on the date. Pack your
Why does
flag."
the show loves Marcus?
Yeah,
I have never seen like a more like producer's special boy in my entire life.
yeah.
He gets the package in the beginning with the American flag in the suitcase, and oh, we love Marcus. He gets all this time on the first episode. We get to the second episode, he gets this one-on-one, and it's not just any one-on-one. It's what, Sammy?
It's a thrill date.
It's a thrill date. It's
Yeah.
well, probably not thrilling for him because he's like an
He's
army
like,
ranger.
I just jump out of planes, like,
Yeah, I
all
was
the
like,
day all
what's
the
the
time."
equivalent of that? That'd be like, Steve, you're going on a date with a beautiful woman and you're gonna log onto a Zoom call. Like, what is that for him? It's nothing, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's like, "I mean, I just kind of, like, do it a lot," but yeah,
Yeah.
that was kinda interesting. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Um, we'll get back to the date, but yeah, I was like, "Okay, so he gets it," and I was like, "Make sure you bring your flag with you," and,
He's just floating down. Instead of parachuting, he's
Yeah,
floating down with the
he's like,
flag.
"USA."
Yee.
Uh, so, yeah, so Aaron interrogates Devin at this, like, after party, and then
Mhm.
Devin starts making fun of Aaron's pearls in the confessional, which I do think is funny just because it doesn't match. It's like, you're not gonna call someone out on something they're wearing if it all is cohesive and it makes sense. That's my point.
Yeah.
Um,
It would be the
but
equivalent of me wearing pearls right now. Like you'd be like, I don't know if this is for you,
that's like a
Steve.
choice you made. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Um And then Aaron calls Devin Dylan multiple times,
Which I
which
love.
don't do that, okay? Don't call him Dylan. We like Dylan.
We
This is
like
not
Dylan.
Dylan.
I just like the idea
But
of
he just, like, completely doesn't remember Devin's name at all.
yeah,
He's just a
intentionally or
non-factor.
unintentionally, like that's one of my favorite ways to just randomly disrespect someone who's a shithead is just
I
call
don't
them by the wrong name repeatedly
I
and
don't
not
think it's
correct yourself.
intentional. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't intentional. It seems
Mhm.
accidental. But he did it like multiple times. I mean, we've all done that where it's
Yeah,
just like for some reason someone sticks in your head as like a certain name and you just like can't get it out cuz maybe you know
yeah.
someone else who looks similar who has the same name or something like that.
He needs
Um
to write it on his hands, like Dylan good, Devin bad,
yeah.
and he's fine.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, he needs something, but
Mhm.
well, okay, anyway, we'll get into the book later, but, yeah, so that was really weird, and then I was like, okay, I was like, "Well, maybe Aaron will approach this conflict more strategically because maybe he knows something from Noah. No.
Yeah, no, and
No.
yeah, come
No.
on, dude. It's
That's
like
the
he had
thing.
a coach who was there,
Yeah.
like someone who could tell him exactly how this stuff works. And he's not a spring chicken. He's older than a lot of these guys. He's in his 30s. Like he's not a baby. So
Yeah,
it's weird.
he's acting like, I mean, they're both deeply unlikable in
Hmm.
my opinion. Um, so yeah, so yeah, Aaron's like, "Oh," and then he has like this one-on-one moment with Jen and he's like, "Listen, I'm totally like fun. I'm like fun loving. I'm not just all serious." And I'm like, "Are you?" And then that's when Devin rolls in with the ice
Ice
cream and
cream.
he was like,
Oh,
"Hello." And then yeah, and then Jen doesn't stop it though. She's not like, "Oh yeah, I still want time." She's like, "Oh, this is cute. Ice cream.
no.
Okay, thank
He's done with
you."
Aaron. He's boring. He's
Yeah,
boring.
yeah, he's not fun loving. She knows it. We know it. So she's like, "Ice cream? That's more fun."
I
Yeah.
just feel like, and maybe you've had the same experience. Anytime someone has to tell you who they are, they're probably reaching for something. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy.
Well, I know someone like that.
I'm funny. I so much fun. I'm not Mr. Serious all the time. It's like, dude, you
Yeah.
no.
It's like
Mm-mm.
people who tell you their nickname.
Yeah. Oh, I hate
That's
that.
weird.
I
People
hate
always
that.
call me blah blah blah. I'm like, "Do they?"
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know more than one person who, like, left like, who changed schools, and all of a sudden they were going by a different name, and they were, like, trying to tell the people at the new school, like, "This is what everybody at my old school called me,"
Nobody
and I'm
calls you
sitting
that,
here
dude.
like, "I didn't call you that." Now, you know, I'm very blessed because I've been given hundreds of nicknames. For some
Mhm.
reason, a Sam root is just you're primed for
Do anything
nicknames.
with it. Yeah.
Everyone in the world wants to give you a nickname, and they just look at you and they go, "I'm gonna call you this," and you go, "Okay, sure." Um, but yeah, I don't think I've ever said to somebody, "This is what people call me." I mean, I say, "I
Yeah.
prefer if you say Sammy." I don't really like Samantha. That's a little too formal for me. When people say that, I'm like, I think I'm getting in trouble. But if they're like, "Is it Sam or Sammy?" I go, "You call me whatever as long as you don't call me Samantha." Like whatever. It doesn't really matter to me.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like Aaron is very much, yeah, it's like, I'm fun. It's like
Yeah.
if you were fun, it's show, not tell. It's
Mhm.
show, not tell. If you were fun, we would know that
We
already.
would know that. Yeah, you can't just walk into a room and be like, "Yeah, my name's Aaron, but everybody calls me Mr. Cool." I don't think so.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
always think about the
no.
guitar player from U2. Like, he just one day he woke up, he's like, "Yeah, call me the Edge." Like, dude, you're not the Edge. Look at you, are the least edgy man alive.
See, it's like I believe it about Slash, but I don't
Mhm.
believe it about, yeah,
Yeah,
Edge.
Slash looks like a Slash. You
Yeah,
tell
you're
me,
just like,
like,
"Yeah, I
if
think
he just
everyone
came up
calls
to
me
me,
Slash."
especially in, like, 1986 or something, he's like, "My
Yeah,
name's Slash." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
it is.
The Edge comes up to me, he's like, "I'm the Edge." I'd be like, "No, you're like Brad or something, man. Shut
You're
up."
just some guy.
Like Ted? Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
not there's no, not
some
Edge.
people can carry it and pull it off, some people can't.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. What I'm gathering from Aaron is it's a manufactured personality that he's practiced and tried to bring onto the show, and it is
Mhm.
not reading well.
Yeah.
And, oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? The ding dong who had all the earrings, in the last Bachelorette.
Oh,
Why am I forgetting? That's so bad. Braden.
Braden, yeah, there
Braden.
you go.
Here's the thing about Braden. That's real to him.
Mhm.
All of that I mean, we know it was like he got out of a strict military environment and now
Yeah.
he's like looking to express himself, but it is like 100% what he wants to do. Like, and he's
Mhm.
leaning into it very heavily. But it's also not, it's manufactured perhaps, but it's also like it's a desire that it's obvious that he's had for a long time and he's like putting his all into it. But like Aaron's not putting his all into it. He's putting like some into it. And we know that because a person who's fun loving and like wears fun accessories and like listen, I'm the queen of fun accessories, so I feel like I can speak on this.
Yeah.
Um
Preach, Miss Frizzle.
Thank you. But like the king of, or like, someone who's like, who's got fun accessories and is fun loving is not going to bring like a self improvement management book to the Bachelorette, but more on that later.
Hmm.
So okay. So Aaron and Jeremy, so Devin gets time, and then Aaron and Jeremy are like bitching outside. Well, Jeremy's more like reacting. Um I actually liked Jeremy more in this episode because I feel like he was kind of the voice of the audience the whole time. They put him into that role because, first there was like that conflict with him and that used car salesman type guy, that esthetician with like the
Hmm.
car and whatever, and he kind of came off. I mean, I get it why he would be peeved by that, but he just kind of seemed unfun. But in this episode, he was just kind of there, but he was like, "Oh wow, oh really? Oh, that's a lot." And then he'd go to the camera and be like, "This is how everybody's feeling right now. Isn't that interesting?" So he's there for Aaron to complain to, and then Aaron's calling Devin a cheese ball or whatever. And there's like this back and forth of turf wars where it's like Aaron's there and then Jeremy's there and then Aaron comes back, or not Jeremy. Aaron's there and then Devin's there and then Aaron comes back and then Devin comes back and
Yeah,
then
it's weird.
Devin wins the turf wars and he gets a kiss from Jenn.
Hmm.
But the joke is on everyone because Grant gets the rose, which threw me through a loop. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I figured the surprise would be Jonathan gets the rose. And then it was like, because it just seemed like they have the most like normal connection.
Hmm.
They just seem like normal humans together, and I really like it.
I feel like
Um,
this could have been a producer note too,
yeah.
because like, okay, so I mean, Devin's interaction was good. It's
Hmm.
it's roseworthy. Like at no point I was like, oh, he's going home. But
No,
then
no.
because we know that Devin is sowing the seeds of chaos, I feel like at least that casts some doubt on his ability to move forward if he, crosses a line or something, or ruins the cocktail party or
Hmm.
whatever he's going to do. Yeah, so it makes sense from a producer standpoint, but I
I
agree
knew
with you. It's
he
not like,
wasn't, yeah, I knew he wasn't going to get it. I knew it wasn't going to be like his
mhm,
or Aaron's because they're in conflict and they
yeah,
want to save that for the rose ceremony.
gotta
But
save it. Yeah.
But I was like, I was surprised because I thought the curveball was going to be Jonathan and then it was Grant. And then
Mhm.
I was like, well, now I'm extra surprised because I just
Yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
that that went as well as it did. And then I was like, wow, I guess. And that's when I was like, well, I guess I got to try to like him a little or something. But you're not convinced. So that's
Not
fine.
convinced yet. Not convinced yet. I gotta warm up to him a little bit more, but
No, that's fine. No, I'm not saying
I'm
I
here trying to protect Jen's heart, Sammy.
yeah, no, that's why I like Dylan, I like Jonathan. They're definitely my top 2 right now.
Yeah.
Um, so we have the one-on-one date with Marcus. Again, he's just kinda like, "Oh, we're gonna jump out of a plane." This is what I would love to see sometime because I know have you jumped out of a plane, by the way?
No, I do it, but
You
I
do
haven't had
it?
I don't haven't had the opportunity to. But if someone was
Okay,
just
we
like,
should
"Steve, you wanna
do
jump
that
out a
at
plane
some
tomorrow?"
point.
Yeah, let's do it
Yeah.
anytime.
Okay,
First
let's
podcast to
consider
jump
that.
out of a plane.
Yes. Yeah, we should do, like, for a milestone episode, we jump out of
Mhm.
a plane.
That'd be
Maybe, like,
amazing.
episode 250 or something like that. That's coming up. Just an
I'll bring a
idea.
portable recorder and a microphone and be like,
Welcome to
"This week on
the
Wrestling
most dramatic.
Special."
Because I've always wanted to do it, but I know Tuck's like I was like, "Would you jump out of a plane?" He's like, "No."
No.
Like, unequivocally no, and I'm like, "Oh, that's fine." I'm like, "I would probably do it at some point. Why not?" You know?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. But, yeah, it was funny because I know that there's, like, 4 hours of training, I think,
Mhm.
about that you're required to do before you do it, and I just love the way that the Bachelor and Bachelorette is edited because it's just, like, they get there and they're suited up and they're going up in a plane, which would be terrifying.
Oh, yeah, I
But
can
they do
imagine.
give you, like, hours worth of training where it's like, here's the position you have to be in. Here's, and they have you practice on the ground, like what you have to do when they jump with you and all that stuff. And it's just like, but they're just like, all right, here we go. It was just really weird. Plus, this part of the date just felt very short in general, but it was
Mhm.
partially because like Jen was scared, but she just like went for it. She's like, I mean, she's a good bachelorette because she's just kind of like she's ready for anything. She'll do it. And
Yeah.
Marcus was like, "Oh, I was so surprised, like how cool, calm, and collected you were." And she was like, I was not. I was freaking out internally, but she just like did it anyway. So there wasn't as much of that, like the adrenaline dates are usually yeah, ones where it's like you spend 10 minutes, like everybody's worried about how this is going to go. And
Yeah.
then they go and that, and, you know, and someone's got to calm someone else down. But it was just kind of like not that dramatic, although, you know, it was fun. Landing seems hard, you know, because it's like you're so freaked out.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
he's like, okay, stand up or sit down or whatever. And then she like did the wrong thing and they just tumbled over. But,
Yeah, they just
um, yeah, that was
splatted,
cute.
basically.
Like, the people that they jumped with seemed fun too, so that
Mhm.
was great. And then, of course, they kiss after because you know, it's like this it's a dramatic date and whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was during the jump or afterwards. I think it was during the jump that Jen was wearing, like, a lilac jacket. Like, she was wearing
Mhm.
something lilac colored, and I just said that that's really her color, and I'm not, like, a season person. I don't know if that makes her a spring or whatever, but I
Yeah.
was like, wow, lilac is like really her color. So that was, and then they had a Fit Me commercial because they're really, it's just, I don't know how much money they're getting from those Fit Me commercials, but holy cow, did you see that? You know what I'm talking about?
No, no, I was skipping the commercials. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
advanced technology.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about, the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. They've had, like, Serena and Joe did a
Oh,
segment.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna say
I've
Charity
seen
did
that one.
one, and then
Mhm.
they did another one with, like, Trista and a few other of the Bachelorettes, and I'm trying to remember who else was in it, but I was
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, there's Trista."
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
not see the latest one, but I've seen the other 2, and I was probably getting cheese to eat when
okay,
that was
yeah.
happening.
Well, that's fine.
Commercials are for
Anyway,
cheese breaks.
yeah, well, yeah, and for product placement, well, on the show,
Mhm.
they have it during the episode, and then they have it like at commercial breaks. It's just wild. So they get to dinner in a library. My dream,
Yeah, I was gonna
again,
say,
my dream.
Sammy
Um,
date.
yeah, I'm like in a museum, in a library, me date. Marcus is like, oh, you know, it takes a lot of strength to do something like skydiving, and you face your fears, and you know, I will say, he went. I mean, you know, like or dislike the military, he did go through something really scary. I mean, like, that would be so traumatizing to experience that. Um,
Oh, yeah, and this was his
yeah.
big vulnerability moment too, where he got to talk about it, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that
Can you
sounds so
imagine
scary.
though, like, okay, so you have that date, and then you're at the library, and then Marcus tells you about how, like, his friends died in front of him when there was a grenade thrown at him or something when he was
Yeah,
doing army stuff. And then what if she, like, didn't give him the rose? Like, that's not even a possibility, right? Like, you
right,
have to
right.
give him the rose at that
Yeah, it's
point.
like that's so but I think she does like him. I mean,
Yeah, oh,
he's
she
getting a
does.
lot of
Not as
attention,
much as the
and
producers do, but
I
she
don't think
likes
so.
him.
Yeah, yeah, but she definitely likes him, and, you
Yeah.
know, he's like, you know, "I wanna live a life that's worth saving because, you know, they saved my life, and I'm so grateful," and, you know, that's beautiful. So I can't be, like, a cynical asshole about that or anything. So they have a
Save
good
that for
date.
me.
Yeah. I'm like,
No,
"I
Marcus
can't do
seems
that.
fine.
That
He seems fine.
makes me sad."
He's I don't
Yeah.
know. He doesn't have a lot of personality, but the bit that's there doesn't seem bad, so he's fine. He's fine.
Well, he's obviously, like, introspective and, like, thoughtful, and it seems like he's, gone to therapy, so that's good because he's
That's
not,
a
like,
plus.
coming back, like, flying off the handle or something, so
No,
and, you know,
he's not,
so
like, stuck in a hurt locker spiral or something, so that's good.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's good. So and it's good that he's like, you know, I don't want to take any day for granted and I'm, you know, so grateful to be
Mhm.
here and all that stuff. So I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
you know,
Seems like a
that's like a
stand-up
healthy
dude.
way to come out of that. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. They had a good date. And then okay, this would be a group date I would have loved to go on. Like I'm like, yeah, if I went on a group date, I want to go on this, the Australian wildlife photo shoot.
Oh god. As soon as
Absolutely.
they said that, I was just like, "Oh, no, they're gonna put, like, a spider the size of my torso on someone, and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah. But that's when you do the interviews and you do all those intake forms, don't tell people you're afraid of spiders.
No,
Why are you
never. Why
doing
would
that?
you do that? Yeah.
Tell
I
people
love
be like,
all
"I'm
animals.
afraid of puppies. I'm afraid of really fuzzy puppies. I just have an irrational fear of getting
Yeah.
puppies covered all over me." And then you get the puppies. Hello? Like that's
Yeah,
what you do.
that's the move.
Yeah. So, but most of the animals were like fun to shoot with. And also I made a note that I really liked the photographer's pants, that I thought they were awesome.
Oh, yeah, they were
Um
dressed really well. I was like, "Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, "This is
Fancy,
this."
posh Outback men."
Yeah, I loved it, and I was like, "Okay, this is my dream group date, and then I wrote, "As long as it's not a spider." And then Hakeem starts saying, "Spiders are my biggest fear," and I'm like, "Don't do that. You're
Don't tell
making
him
a
that.
mistake." And then I'm like, "Don't you know how this show works?" And then, but okay, here's my comparison that I'm going to make. I think Hakeem is this season's John Paul Jones.
Ooh.
Yep.
Is he weird enough though?
I mean, he's getting pretty whack. Okay, so he came in with all the balloons, the up balloons,
Mhm.
right? And then they all popped. He's like comedic relief, I think. And then he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm so afraid," and whatever. And then he's like, I mean, even the photo, which I can't believe they captured a photo. I was shocked
Yeah.
that they got one because the
Oh,
whole
because it
time
was like
he's
Autumn and he was
freaking
just
out,
like
freaking out, freaking out. Well, because it went, I mean, it moved fast. It like went
Yeah.
up his arm, and I was like, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that either." And he's like, "What do I do if it gets in my head? What do I do? What do I do?" And then they're like, "We got the shot," and he's like, "Really?" And they actually captured like a decent frame of him, even though he was like
Yeah.
panicking. They still made it like look like editorial and cool and whatever. But I'm just saying, maybe they're gonna do another, I don't know if they'll do like a pregnancy simulator or whatever they did with like
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Jones, but he's got some cartoonish facial
Mhm.
reactions. He's got the energy. I don't know. I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's like fully John Paul Jones,
Sure,
but
sure.
I think he might be this season's version of John Paul Jones.
Okay. Yeah, because with
That's my theory.
JPJ, I think the thing with him is like the moment he walked into the house, you were like, "Oh, there's no way. Like he doesn't have a shot."
No, he doesn't have a shot in
He looks like a
hell.
weird child, like,
Yeah.
and then he talks, you're like, "Oh, no, like, who how is he here?" Because you always get those guys on night 1 where they're like, "Oh, yeah, this is just a goober that we rolled in because it'll be fun for the first night," whatever. But then he just stuck around, like,
Yeah,
for a
he
long
kinda was a
time.
fan favorite, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
because he
great.
was a weird goober who was likable. Because
Yeah,
it's like you
yeah.
get, like, Waboom or whatever, or like that
Oh, no
pizza
more
guy, and
booms.
it's like
Ooh,
or that weird Canadian dude, it's like everybody hates them, Daniel or whatever, it's like, and Daniel stuck around way too long, and Paradise
way too
way
long.
too long. He
Yeah.
way overstayed his welcome. But, it's like, yeah, you see people like that, and you're just kinda like, "Oh god." But it was like every time John Paul Jones was on your TV, it was a delight. You just
Mhm.
knew it was gonna be a good time. He's a theater kid. He was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Oh
the
my god,
bad thing
you
is,
said "Waboom," and I just had, like,
I'm
all these, like, Waboom
sorry. I
flashbacks.
hated Waboom. But it's like you stick around, but I mean, the problem with John Paul Jones was he stuck around too long and then he became the villain. I mean, I still
Mhm.
think people like him. I think they understand that like it was a weird edit or whatever,
Yeah.
but I
And no
also
one's gonna
don't
stand
think
here and be like, "He's not emotionally stunted at all." Like,
yeah.
clearly.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, maybe a little too much of a good thing, right? Like he just got a
Mhm.
little, but he also was the one who like ate the date food in Paradise, which was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. That's one of my top 10 moments on the show was when I can't remember who he was on a date with, but she had to be like, "You can't eat the date food." And he was like, "What?" And she's like, you don't eat the date food. What are you doing?" And it was such a great fourth wall break. It was just like
Yeah.
so funny. Anyway, I'm just saying keep an eye on what Hakeem does because there's no one else who I think is remotely funny the way
Yeah,
he
funny or
is. I think
goofy.
he's just
Yeah.
naturally like a funny animated guy. So
Yeah.
just
Animated.
keep
That's a good way to put it too.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed him on this date. Um and then we got to see Melanie, the snake, came out, and Dylan gets up and goes, "Yeah, I can step in and I can do that picture with Jen." Even though he like we find out later he doesn't even like snakes, but then he wraps it around like it's like a really cool scarf. Like he
Mhm.
looked very
Oh, he
stylish
looked
with that
great. And the
snake.
picture of him,
Yeah.
I've never seen a man look more beautiful, and he's got a snake wrapped around his neck. I was like, "How do you do that?"
Dylan, yeah.
Someone just tells me to stand
Favorite.
still, like, if you were to take, like, a headshot of me, I'd be like, "Ugh." Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
He was so natural. Like, yeah,
No.
it's like, yeah, paying for
Yeah.
med school with modeling on the side, Dylan. What's going on?
I guess
Maybe.
so, yeah.
Could be. And then he gets pulled aside and he gets now this was kind of a surprise because I feel like they don't do this a lot anymore in like newer seasons, but he got like a whole like dinner time date
Mhm.
for putting on this snake and all the other men had to go home and they
Yeah.
they were like walking home in their little outback outfits and they were
Mhm.
like so sad. They
Like a
came
bunch of
home like
sad little
dejected. They
wallabies.
were like, we got kicked out and Dylan's on the date without us. And they're like, "You better give us more time at the cocktail party. You
Yeah.
better promise. You better
Yeah,
promise we
this is
get
this is
time."
where they tried to form like the bro union, and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're all gonna give each other time, which I guess works if everybody agrees. But we know one little rascal who's not going to agree to that.
It's like game theory, right? It's like we have this pile of money, and if everybody refuses to take it, then you all split it. But if one person decides to take it, then they take everything. And if two people decide to take it, then we burn the money up. It's that kind of a thing. So but yeah, so we get this little one-on-one time with Dylan. My only note on the date was I don't understand the gingham tablecloth, but whatever. Um, I was just like, I just feel like this is diminishing the stylishness of this date, but okay. And Dylan's like, his parents got married within 6 months of knowing each other. So he's kind of like, listen, I know it can happen fast. I know when you know, you know. So like, this
Mhm.
isn't like that weird to me or whatever. And he wants to like, model his marriage after his, parents. And I mean, it seemed like a good date. Dylan talked about feeling insecure, and I'm like, you've literally nothing to be insecure about ever. You seem perfect, so I don't know. um, but yeah, then we go like we're kind of going back and forth, and we're like with the other men, and they're like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. Like the men who came home, they're gonna get first time with Jen, and then everybody else can get in line. And Devin was just like, well, I'm not gonna fall back to the end of the line for you. Like, what? And then he ended up saying something like, "Well, I'll respect your time." But he didn't say, "So I'm going to go after or I'm going to go at the end or anything like he just said, "Well, I'll respect your time." You know? So like the later they get mad at him about this, but he was just like, "No, I'm not going to go to the end." And then there's like this whole other round of Aaron and Devin again, and Aaron said Dylan again. And then he's like, "Well, listen, Devin, I think you need this book." And it was something like The Principles of Self-Growth or something like that, and he handed it to him and he's like, "Why don't you just read that?"
Nerd.
And I'm like, "You also suck." Like Devin
Yeah.
sucks, but he is upfront about sucking, but to like and like I after the show, I like Taylor. I'm not dogging on her, but when she I think also knows that it was like a weird edit bad moment when she was like harping on about emotional intelligence and kind of like talking down to people like they don't understand it. Like that was a weird way to be. She like since then I think has done a lot of cool things to like make up for it, but it was just like you just even if it's true, and obviously she's had training and education and she has experience and she knows what she's talking about to a certain degree, but it's like even if that's true, you're going about it in a way that just feels really shitty. And like I wonder what that book fully was. Hold on. Oh, and I haven't been able to watch the Love Virgins podcast yet. I'm sure people are so curious from last week. This kind of came fast and furious. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Okay, so there's a Screen Rant article about Aaron. I will add this to the show notes as well if I remember because this is I'm like already I'm like this is a good title. It says Aaron Erb's book is the most obvious case of producer manipulation in Bachelorette history. Proof the show doesn't care about Jen Tran. Um, yeah, that they're prioritizing drama over her. Well, that's what they always do though. Um, but yeah, it's called The Principles of Self Wait. It's not a real book?
What?
What?
It's a fake book, like the ones when you go to IKEA, they have the books on the shelf, but they're not real.
What? Hold on, hold on,
So
hold
this
on.
is this is literally just like a producer prop.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Oh, oh my
That's
god.
so weird.
Oh, oh my god. Okay.
So
Now,
did he think that was like a giant own or something? And then but it's not even real and it's not even
it's
his
not
book?
real.
That's
I'm literally
I
looking
don't even know how
for
to
it.
process this. What?
Is it really not real?
What?
I'm looking for it and I can't. I mean, there's like this guy who's an attorney, and attorneys like to write books. So I'm like just peeking through just to see, because it could be like a small book that somebody who knows somebody wrote, no.
Yeah. But is
He's
it on
talking
Amazon?
he
If
he
it's not on
writes about
Amazon, it's not
he
real.
writes about planning for a digital estate and commercial financing for mergers and acquisitions. This is not the same Brandon O'Connor. Okay. Yeah, this is wild. This
I
is
can't believe
wild.
it's a fake book.
I'm glad I wrote down the name of the book cuz yeah, cuz I kind of figured, a guy like that would do, what, like the 7 habits of highly effective people or something like
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, what is this book? Um and there was a spelling mistake on the spine. So it was created by
Not even
producers
a good prop.
specifically for the show. Principles for Self-Growth, Dr. Brandon O'Connor. Yeah, it says principles for self-growth.
Crucifles.
Principles for self-growth
Oh my
on
god.
the spine.
Like,
How
that's
to
ridiculous, right? Like, what?
understand yourself and gain emotional depth. Dr. Brandon O'Connor. They made it for the show.
That's so weird.
I'm shocked. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's wild. That they couldn't
Wow.
even use a real book. Was it like, "Oh, well, we didn't get clear, no one decided they didn't wanna sponsor this, so we're not gonna use a real book. We're not gonna give anybody free promo."
Yeah, I guess so. That's
Yeah,
so
I mean,
weird.
we had, like, Eric, way back in the day talk about who moved my cheese.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. That really kinda changes even more in my mind.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what I'm
so
saying. When I
weird.
say Aaron is manufactured, that's what
That's
I
I mean,
mean.
literally
That's what
down
I
to the
mean.
book, down to the
Holy
book.
shit. My instincts are dead on, and I should really trust them more.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. There's in no universe would I let somebody do that to me, like a producer. If they're like, "Yeah, why don't you give someone a fake book?" I'd be like, "Absolutely not. No."
Yeah,
And you can
no.
always say no. You just might not get as much airtime, but you can
Oh,
always
that's
say no.
so weird.
Wow. Okay, so but get this. Okay, this is also I forgot about this. Okay, remember Bennett? Bennett Jordan?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Fancy Bennett? Someone
Mhm.
who definitely had a very distinct look, but it did not feel manufactured. It's like,
No.
no, this is just who he
He was
is.
finance bro to his core.
He is just
Like,
yeah. I'm looking for a finance, yeah. Um,
six
yeah,
five blue eyes with a
trust
trust fund.
fund
That's
6 5.
him.
That's Bennett. That's 100% Bennett, although I think he has brown eyes. But anyway,
Yeah.
so he gave Noah a book in season 16. I did not remember
Oh,
this at
yeah,
all.
on emotional intelligence. And
Yeah, what was it? I'm looking right now. So he's like, okay, this is wild. Yeah, it was called On Emotional Intelligence. That was the
Mhm.
book. And
And he was like,
which
"I carry this wherever I go," or something like
which
that.
no one needed that. I completely forgot about this. And he goes, there's 4 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. He thought that Noah was deficient in all of the categories except for self-management. Same. Um, Noah called Bennett's gifts fake, but Bennett insisted he wasn't talking down to him. He told him that he didn't have emotional intelligence at his age. Bennett informed him that the book would be very helpful, but Noah wasn't impressed. Bennett said, I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm literally trying to love you up. He also, I loved Bennett. He also informed Noah that he didn't think he'd ever end up with Tasha. True.
Well,
Um,
he's not wrong.
but I think that might have been a real book
Maybe.
because it doesn't say it didn't exist outside of the show. Hold on, let me find it. It was a blue
Well, at
book
least Bennett
called,
was better. It was better at selling it because, like,
and this is a real book. On Emotional Intelligence is a real book.
mhm.
So just so you know. It's
I
it's
can't
a
believe they used to.
Harvard Business Review book.
I'm still stuck on the like fake book thing. That's
Yeah.
so lame.
Yeah.
That's so lame.
That's just so corny. I can't believe it. So anyway, my flabbers are gasted, as you would say. I can't I am legitimately surprised by that. Okay, so
Wow.
yeah. Um, okay. So yeah, so there's the book and whatever. Okay, now we get to the cocktail party. But
Mm.
yeah, that's well, I'll have to scour some social media. I did not have a lot of time to do research this week, so my apologies. I will do better next week. Um, will the Outback group get the chats first? No. Devin pulls immediately. He just goes, "Jen, can I grab you for a second?" And then he's like, and she really does like him.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like hiding a part of himself and wanting to be himself with her and da 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 da. And she's like, "Oh my god, I like you so much."
Oh, I love
And
how you're being you.
yeah, it's so fun. Like, what are you talking about? Just be you. It's so good. And then Thomas N comes in swinging. And I agree with Devin. He, instead of getting Jen's attention, he grabs
Mhm.
Devin and is like, "I
Yeah.
got a problem with you, buddy. I don't like where
Yeah.
this is
Wrong
going."
wrong person to grab. That was,
Bad
like,
idea. Bad
totally the
idea.
wrong move.
Yeah. And and yeah, he's like, "I hear we have a problem." And then who said someone was like, oh no. So yeah, Devin's like, "So what? We have a problem or whatever." And Jen's just like sitting there. She's just like left to sit there, like not knowing what to do. So like instead of taking time with one of the men, she's just like sitting there by herself, which is a bad use of her time.
Yep.
Who called who politically incorrect? I have a note that just says LOL politically incorrect. Someone calls one politically incorrect and I was like, "What are you talking about? That has nothing to do with what is happening on." I think Thomas called Devin
It
politically
although
incorrect.
the whole thing
It
was
was such
weird
a
because,
weird
like, he
fight. Yeah.
called him that, and then they were, like, going back and forth, and, like, they were like, "You're doing a sexism. No, you're doing a sexism," and it's just like, "Can you both just shut up?"
And Devin was like, "Listen, I did it out of the kindness of my heart. I went
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Honestly, this was like an A1 gaslight." He's like,
Oh,
I took the time first so that nobody felt impeded by Devin because everybody feels impeded by Devin. So I
it's
did it
amazing.
first." And I was like, "Wow, that's actually
This is like some
that's like a good strategy." Yeah.
it's it's like Real Housewife level, like, not understanding what reality is or, like, molding reality to fit
Yeah.
what you want it to be. It's yeah, literally just like, "Oh, no, I took it first for you guys. I was looking out for you."
I don't know why
What?
I just thought about, like, the Beverly Hills dinner where, like, Eileen gets called a beast and they're all, like, breaking glass and stuff. I don't know, my brain just, like, went there for a second. Was that in the Netherlands or something like that? Remember that? It was a
Yes.
wild
That was
dinner. I'll never forget that. But the weird thing is the only version I remember now is the ASMR version because someone did, like, an ASMR version of them all whispering, so they're
What?
like, "Beast." Like, so when I watch the fight, they're just all
You just
whispering.
they're all doing
It's amazing.
ASMR.
Anyway,
Like that.
so yeah, so okay, so then Ginger Sam is not Love Virgin Sam, but Ginger Sam
Mhm.
is like the first one to say Devin is not here for the right reasons.
There we
And
go. There we
and
go.
Jeremy again, like I feel like Jeremy's totally different than he was in the first episode. So I like him more. Like he just seems more chill and
Mhm.
he's like listening, taking things in, not trying to take sides, but he's like, "Listen, I'm not Devin's biggest fan, but I do think he's straightforward um and I don't think what you did, Thomas, was like a good thing to Devin or Jen." So yeah. So I was like, yeah, voice of the audience for sure. And then, yeah, Thomas gets mad about Devin. And then Jen's like, "Listen, you can't make decisions for me or take my independence away." Like, because he was like, "Well, but the rules, but there were rules and we were supposed to
Oh,
do it
he
in this
loves
order."
rules.
And she was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, but if you're deciding like who goes first or who I let take me first, or like you're making decisions for me, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, that's not cool." And he was like, "Well, no, I mean, it wasn't like that. I would just like, and it was like, "Ooh," like,
Yeah.
I don't know. She had a point. She had a really good point.
No, we had bro code and we were gonna all take our 5 minutes or
And she
whatever.
was
It's like,
like, "But what about me?" And it was like, and then she's like, "Yeah, and because you were fighting, then I lost time with men in general." And because she's on the same page with Devin on this, that's bad for the other men. If they try to come up against Devin, it's like not it's
oh,
going to
yeah.
take a lot to take him down. So they should probably just focus on their own relationships. They should
And they
not try to
won't.
take him on. No. And unless they have a very coordinated attack against him, that it's not going to work. It's just he's going to become impenetrable pretty quickly. So
Yep.
they need to just focus on their own stuff. I know they won't. Um but yeah, so then yeah, so Ginger Sam gets time with Jen. She's like, "Oh, I get flustered around you," and he's like, "I want to fluster you because you
I love
bother
Sam's
me."
reaction to the whole Devin thing too,
Yeah,
which is like, I mean, not to jump too far ahead. I think it's like one of the last like shots or whatever, but he's
yeah.
just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill him." It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I mean,
great.
I don't like him. I don't like Sam. There's a lot of people I just like there's a lot of people I like, and there's a lot of people I don't like, and I don't have a lot of neutral feelings. So
Mhm.
anyway, but yeah, I'm not really liking him, but yeah, he's just like I was weird when he was like, "Well, I'm glad I fluster you because you bother me." And she was like, "I bother you." And he's like, "Well, like hot and but like anyway."
He doesn't know what words mean. This is the
No.
same one where she's like, "I want a ferocious love," and he's like, "Yeah, reckless
Reckless love.
love."
And I'm like, "That
Like, nah, not the
sounds
same.
yeah, like it's like Brando territory. I don't know. That makes me nervous, you know? Um, yeah, so that was odd. And then and then I just said, Devin is apologizing for being himself or whatever. Those were my notes. Um, and then then Jonathan gets some one-on-one time, and I do think he's the guy on the show right now with the best eye contact. And it's, like, not too intense, like, he's just got the exact right amount of eye contact, and of course they kiss. And then Spencer, I think we're gonna see more of him next week. I think he gets a one-on-one next week. They kiss, but then there's still more drama. Thomas N is outside, he's complaining, Devin is coming at him, this is the whole thing, and then okay, but here's what I'm gonna say. I feel like Thomas threw in a lot more swears and a lot more, like, violent language, but Devin was taunting him. I don't think either of
Yeah,
them were in the right, but Thomas was
no,
like, "Well, you could I could beat your ass," you know? And I'm
yeah.
like, "Okay, is that necessary?" And then
Also, I firmly believe with every fiber of my being that Thomas has never been in a physical altercation in his entire life,
I
which is
mean,
perfectly fine.
yeah.
But also,
I was just
when you
like,
say I'm
"What's
gonna beat
this
your ass,
big talk?"
it's not coming from a
He's
place
like,
of
"You wanna get your
sincerity.
ass beat?" And Devin was like
Grr.
Devin was like, "Please." Like, he was just like, "Come on." And he's like, "I just" and I don't I think what he was saying was disingenuous when he was like, "I just wanna talk. I just wanna talk. Let's just talk." I'm like, "I don't really believe you." But I do think he was trying to smooth things over. I don't think he wanted things to blow up the way that they did, but it's not because he wants to unlike Maria, it's not because he wants to make things right in the house and form good relationships. Because she was trying
Mhm.
to smooth things over because she's like, "We should all get along in the house." Like, there's no we're all have to be in this house together. We should like each other. That's not why he's doing it. He's doing it because he's like, "I wanna smooth things over so that no one gets in my way." So it's like a very different motivation in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, it was just weird because I feel like Thomas, took it up to a place it didn't need to go. I don't think Devin was doing anything that would get you that mad. Now, fully believe that there could have been things where he was, like, poking the bear
Mhm.
and producers didn't share like, there's things that could have been going on that either didn't get captured or they just chose not to share it, edit
Yeah.
it, whatever. So we'll hear more, I'm guessing, about these altercations at the Men Tell All. We'll hear a lot about Devin.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but I will say drama with the men is always juicier than drama with the women. The Bachelorette is always way more dramatic than The
Yeah.
Bachelor. Except for
Oh
Katie's
gosh.
season where they were all best friends and everybody cried and I cried every episode and I was like, "This is
They
amazing.
love
This is
these
the best
men.
season ever." I still think I mean, I put them all on a pedestal. I think they're the best. Um, but yeah, this was weird. What's his face? What was it? Brian? What's the guy who looks like a used car salesman and is in a set? Was it
Oh,
Brian?
yeah, that's that oh, no, wait, are you talking about the guy who looks like he's like a nefarious trombone player in a ska band?
Yeah, yeah,
That's Brian Aux,
Brian.
yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing that's weird about Brian. We didn't hear a peep out of him in this
No,
episode.
he didn't say anything,
There was like
and
that tension
he
with him and
also
Jeremy,
didn't
and
make
then
it past this week,
right.
so
There was like that tension with him and Jeremy, and then it's like we start to see more of Jeremy and he's like being more normal, and then we don't hear anything from Brian. It was just really interesting. Um and then okay, so then got most of the names of the people who got through, like Hakeem, that mullet guy, what's his name? Austin?
Austin, yep.
Spencer, Jeremy, Jonathan, John, Thomas A. I literally forgot he existed. Sam M, Devin, Sam N, Love Virgin, Aaron, and then the final rose goes to Thomas. And so, really, the only person that I remember was Brian going home. There were a couple other guys that went home, but I
Yeah.
literally don't remember them
So
at
the
all.
fellas we said goodbye to this week.
Oh, you're being so nice.
We lost 3 soldiers. Brian Otts, nefarious trombone player in a ska band slash guy who, I don't know, fake stole keys from a car that didn't actually belong to someone. Whatever.
Right.
He's gone. See you on Paradise, buddy. Jahan, who
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe you said he seems nice.
I
Well,
thought he had potential. I'm
he
sorry, I
seems like
forgot
he's
about him
gone.
already.
Yeah. And then Marvin.
Oh, Marvin.
Oh,
Hmm.
Marvin,
I don't
who
really remember him a lot either.
none of us do.
Yeah. Did
Gone,
we even talk to
but
him
also
once?
forgotten.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any of us.
We
He has
didn't
a
talk about him
very
last
nice
week.
smile, a beautiful smile, and I'm sure he's a fine human being, but
It's
he
even in
didn't
his
talk to
bio.
anyone.
His smile is
His
even
bio
in his
says that he's
bio.
got a good smile.
Yes. He's a luxury event planner in Santa Monica.
Mhm.
Cha-ching. Get you a guy who can do it all. He's the CEO of his own company. He loves his family and he has a handsome smile to match. He considers himself a romantic and is looking for a wife who has sugar, spice, and everything nice. Open
How lovely.
communication and strong family values are very important to Marvin. He's hoping to start a family soon and is ready to create a legacy with his future soulmate. Martin loves the luxurious things in life, like always being GQ ready, but also down to go camping and explore nature. Talk about versatility. Marvin is confident his future wife is out there and is hoping it's Jenn. I'm sorry, it's not.
Unfortunately, it's
Um,
not. Not this time around, buddy.
he was born in Cameroon. He speaks French fluently. Wait, did he speak French in the opening
Yep.
when he met Jenn?
Yep. French guy.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go. Now
And
it's
he
all coming back
dreams,
to
yeah, well, that little part.
you.
He dreams of buying a beachside mansion in Malibu, and he's well on his way. He's well on his
Good for
way.
you,
So,
buddy. Good for
hey,
you.
maybe he'll show up on Paradise. He's cute. He's
Hmm.
a catch,
He'll either
clearly.
show up on
So,
Paradise or he will buy his own paradise in
yeah,
Malibu.
he's got a real
He'll buy
job.
the bachelor mansion and
He's
then
not just
rent it
an
out.
entrepreneur, like he's got a job. So, that's
Yeah.
good.
Man with
Um,
job.
Yeah, he owns businesses. So anyway, so okay, then let's see. Okay, loud guys going home, blah 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 blah. I don't remember any of the other guys. Of course, Devin grabs the chance for a cheers at the end.
Of
And then
course.
Sam M is like, he's a fucking snake.
Yep.
And then okay, yeah, so this is great. See, okay, this will be our next week. We'll have another chance for a John Paul Jones moment with Hakeem because he's going on that racing date or as part of a group date with racing, but they had him in the preview for next week, and he's like, "Wow, this is so fast," So I'm just saying, I think he's the comedic relief this season. And then they're doing like some Thunder Down Under something. Spencer looks like he gets a one-on-one, and Aaron's probably going to decide to be a snitch, which I think will lead to his downfall.
There you
Yeah,
go. That sounds
I
like a
think he's
good
really
prediction.
just such a pawn.
Also,
So
there's like a preview, and I don't know if this is like a Colton jumping the fence thing where they're going to show us this every single week until it happens, like right before the season's over.
uh-huh.
But there's something where Jen's like, "Get out!" And like some guy gets kicked out of the of everything. So
Yeah, it'll
I'm
probably
wondering who
happen in
that's
like
going to be.
3 weeks.
Probably they can't give us that to us that soon. So
No, no. Yeah, they're like nobody gets kicked out right now. Yeah, I wonder, well, at this point, who do you think would get kicked out?
um, I mean, my heart says Devin, but I'm hoping it's someone that we're not even considering. Like I'm hoping it's someone who's just like got a wife at home because that's always fun. Not even a
That's
girlfriend. I want a
not
straight
fun.
up wife.
That's not fun. It's just
Yeah.
like how little research do you do? You
Yeah. It's
probe
not good.
into all of their insecurities, all of their fears. You know to put a spider on Hakeem and he'll freak out. But heaven forbid you make sure that they're not booed
Oh,
up in any
sometimes
way.
I think they know and they're like, oh, we're going to keep him.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. I mean,
Hmm.
we should, okay, I still wanna do the book. I promise sometime this summer, I'll do the, I'm Not Here to Make Friends book review. It is coming, I swear. But at some point in between seasons, we should watch the first season of Unreal and do, like, a season 1 Unreal summary. You've watched it, right? Or you haven't?
Yes, I've seen it before. I haven't watched it fully, but I've seen it.
The first season, I think, is really, I mean, the second season's okay, but the first season's, like, really worth watching, and I think it would be a fun, like, bonus episode to do,
Yeah,
so and
love it.
everyone, today or tomorrow, I'll be getting an email if I got chosen for a Jilly box, so
Oh my
oh, wait, no, it's
god.
next week.
Oh,
Next
wow. You're
Wednesday.
worse than The Bachelor where they tease something that we don't get it
Sorry.
for weeks.
So I might well, and I won't get the Jilly box until, like, September or whatever,
Mhm.
but I'll be using the travel bag. Oh, do I have it by me? That weekender bag I got. I'll be using
Hey,
that
there you
very
go.
soon, and I'll be using this with my new purse, so I'm making use out of all the stuff I
There you
got.
go. And hey, real quick before we wrap up, I do have a
Yes.
little bit of Bachelor gossip.
Ooh, okay, what's the Bachelor gossip?
It's not that great. So,
Oh,
Jason Tartick and Caitlin Bristow, they were dating, they broke up,
yes.
and apparently Jason's got a new girlfriend,
Yeah, Cat.
Kat Stickler, and
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. It's a
She's,
TikTok
like,
person.
TikTok famous. Yeah.
What does she
She
do? What's her thing?
um I don't know a lot
Dances?
about Kat. No, it's more like comedy, I guess, but, like,
Okay.
so Kat was with somebody, they broke up. I don't know if they were married, I think they were. Sorry, TikTok people yelling at me. She's not in on my For You page ever. But I do know a little bit. But, like, she was a single mom for a while, and so she did a lot of, like, life as a single mom, isn't it so funny and
Mhm.
calamitous type of content.
I get it. I
Yeah,
don't
her
actually,
her
but
mom's
yeah.
kinda like an almond mom, so she kinda does, like, some almond mom content, and,
Okay.
um, the thing that I think one of the things that people think is weird is, I mean, I don't think Kat and Caitlyn look that much like each other, but some people say that they do, or, like, well, if you kind of, like, if you're scrolling really fast, they look the same. I don't totally
I
buy
don't
that,
I don't
um, but I don't know a lot about, like, the drama between the 2 of them. What I heard was, like, it sounded like Jason wanted to do more than Caitlyn wanted to do, like, he wanted a podcast, but she didn't want that or something. I don't know. It was something that's didn't even sound right to me when I heard it.
Yeah.
So I don't know
I
what
love
that
breaking
whole
up with
stuff was
someone because
about.
they don't want a podcast with me. That's
I mean, I've done it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. It was did you hear any more, or was that the
That's all
limit
I
of the
got.
goss? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the goss was they were spotted on the red carpet. That's it. That's all I
Yeah.
got.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. I mean, I'm kind of, like, protective of Caitlyn Bristow, like, maybe
Mhm.
against my better judgment, but I'm just, like, always protective of her, and I feel like people rag on her for a lot of, like, really inane reasons, and so I just feel like I'm always team her, but I don't know the full drama.
Yeah.
A lot of people on TikTok are team Cat. Now that could just be because she's on TikTok a lot
Mhm.
and she's younger.
Yeah, that makes
I don't
sense.
know. I'm
I
not
have no
sure.
idea. I guess it seems like they've been dating for a while now, but, I don't
Mm.
know.
But they
Uh,
didn't, like, do a hard launch until later or whatever?
I don't understand celebrity things.
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm sure she's nice, he's got great abs, like, what else can you ask for? I hope they're happy, even though I'm a Caitlin Bristow guy in my heart.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I'm kinda gonna support her come hell or high water, and maybe that's bad.
Mhm.
But we all have our problematic faves.
Yeah,
So,
it's alright.
and
Don't
she's
worry about
mine. So
it.
all right, well, cool. Well, that being said, everybody, well, take care, be safe, be good. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And you can jump out of a plane if you want, because that's something I would do.
But don't do needle drugs,
Can you hear
please.
it this time?
Yeah, I can hear it this time,
Okay.
so it's not weird. It's normal, not weird. It's normal, not weird. Not weird. It's normal. Normal. Just a couple of normal people. Podcast, 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 podcast.
Yeah, it's like you stick around for after the trailer.